After quite a wait, we finally got the Joe Strummer Telecaster in the store. One of my biggest inspirations. I love The Clash. I love Joe Strummer. This is a very cool guitar. I'm going to tell you all about it. Stick around. How's it going, y'all? My name is Cooper Greenberg here at Alamo Music Center in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We've been asking you forever. We hit 100,000. Now we're going for 5 million. So subscribe, turn your notifications on so you know when we get the good stuff in, and check out our podcast. It's a fun time. It's called the Fretboard Confessional. Link is below. So, like I said, finally got Joe Strummer in the store. Not personally, that's impossible. But we got his guitar in here, new from Fender, the road-worn Telecaster Joe Strummer. Very cool guitar. We did have another Joe Strummer guitar in here that was the campfire guitar. That was an acoustic. It was a small body, kind of parlor size. And I made somewhat of a flub because in the video, I said something about how, hey, I don't associate Joe Strummer with playing small acoustic guitars. I want a Telecaster. And a lot of people gave me a bunch of the business because talked about his campfires, talked about all that stuff. That's a whole other thing. I messed up. But I will say, this is what I've been waiting on. I wanted a cool rockin' Telecaster, and we got it. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the guitar, kind of the history, why it looks like this. The story goes, and you can read a lot more about this online, Joe Strummer had a friend that needed British citizenship, I believe, from South Africa, and they paid Joe Strummer some cash to make it happen. With that cash, he had his eye on a pre-owned, what is this? He had his eye on a used 66 Telecaster that was hanging in the window of a guitar shop. He got that guitar, and then that guitar was with him throughout his entire career. Later on with the Clash, everything he did, it was with the Telecaster. It was originally a 3-color Sunburst 66. He primed it and then painted it black over time. It got beat up, it got all worn down, there were stickers all over it. But what Fender has done with this guitar is kind of capture what it looked like at the end, what it looks like now, I guess, and where it's been worn, where the 3-color Sunburst came through, where the primer came through, and then where the black had kind of been rubbed away. I love Fender custom shop guitars, obviously real ones too, but the guitars that have resprays over the 3-color Sunburst. It's one of my favorite things when we see some of those online or when they come to the store. A respray of black over 3-color Sunburst. Sometimes you see it in shell pink, really cool colors that when they only offered 3-color Sunburst, for the most part, people resprayed their guitars. It wore down over time. You start seeing that finish come through. I dig the primer too. That Brent Mason guitar had the gray primer. I think that's just a cool thing for a guitar. And I think when it comes to Fender, this is what the road-worn finish and kind of series, more or less. It's not really a series, but you got the Vintera road-worns, you got all that stuff. This is where it shines the best. I don't necessarily hate the Vinteras that are road-worn, but I would rather have a Vintera that is brand new. Everybody says the same thing. I can relic it myself. It's never going to happen. You're never going to drag this thing behind a truck and make it look like Joe Strummer's actually did. You got to play it for like 40 years. But road worn, when it's done to capture the essence of a piece of rock and roll history, I think is very cool. And if you're somebody who likes Joe Strummer, but you have your own identity, you want to do your own thing, throw some stickers on here. That's what it's made for. Make this thing your own because, like all signature models, it doesn't have to be just for a cover band of that person. You can make it your own. So it's got the specially voiced 60s style pickups because it is capturing that 66 essence. Got a 60s C neck on it. It is a rosewood fretboard, 7.25-inch radius. It's got the road-worn lacquer finish like I was talking about. There's a couple things that Joe did to his guitar. He switched the brass saddles over to a 6 saddle. So that's what you got on here. He added a second string tree, so you got the string tree on there. And you do have the Strummer silhouette on the neck plate. I think that's cool. If you don't want it like that, you can just switch it out. It's not a big deal. Nothing fancy with the switches going on, just tone and volume 3-way switch. I'm going to be playing it through a Blues Junior, giving you a little clean tone and then a little heavier tone. I'm not Joe Strummer, and it's not like Joe Strummer was the biggest shredder in the world. It was about the intensity of the punk rock. But I'm going to hear it, I'm going to dig into it a little bit so you can see how the pickups sound. Very, very vintage sounding pickups like they're supposed to. I dig it. Take a listen. There you have it, a little bit on the Joe Strummer Telecaster, the Joe Strummer signature model that I've been waiting for. Now, a lot of stuff online about this guitar saying that it is overpriced. Everything's going up in price. That's the problem. That's the thing. This is the price of what you would pay for an American-made Telecaster. I believe it's $17.99, and it is pretty steep. But there's a few people that I would like to address whether this is the right thing for you or whether you have other options. One, if you are in a Clash cover band, you have to have this guitar. If you are a huge Joe Strummer fan, it's just a cool thing to own. It does have the essence of Joe Strummer in this guitar. I've got a guy that I know named Michael Schultz. He's the head of Fender Signature Artist Guitars, and he is one of the guys that is behind the cool George Harrison stuff that we got earlier this year. I know he worked on the Rocky, he worked on the Rosewood Telly, and he actually showed me back when this got announced, he got to fly out, he got to take a look at all of Joe's guitars, really make sure that it was going in the right direction to capture the vibe of Joe Strummer. So I know that Fender stands behind this. I know that any Joe Strummer fan would be happy to own this guitar. And there was a custom shop version years ago that I'm sure is 5 digits or something crazy like that, much like the George Harrison stuff. So this is not a cheap guitar by any stretch of the means, but it is not custom shop prices. It's cool. And I think based on the demos, you can tell it sounds really good. If you are a young punk artist or even an old punk artist and you don't want to spend $17.99, currently prices are subject to change. If you don't want to spend that money on a Joe Strummer signature, what you can do, what you probably should do, get a classic vibe telly that's 3-color sunburst. Get a made in Mexico player Telecaster, 3-color sunburst. Prime it, paint it black, beat the crap out of it over 40 years, put stickers on it, and you've already got 6 saddles on those guitars, so you don't even have to do anything there. Add another string tree. What I'm getting at here is find a guitar that's not expensive. I learned from some research on Fender's site and everything. I believe he got the original 66 for 100 quid. Obviously, that's some British stuff. We don't deal with quid over here. But you can find an inexpensive guitar if you want. You can prime it, you can paint it a different color, you can rub the finish through, you can make it your own, and that might be the next thing that Michael Schultz heads up for the Fender Signature Artist catalog. So if you like this guitar, I know it's pretty limited, pretty sure. I'm not positive about that, but it has been really hard for us to get a hold of them. I think we got allocated 2, and usually when that happens, it means they're pretty limited. So act now if you dig the guitar. If you're in a Clash cover band, which our warehouse manager, Maylene, was in a Clash cover band, and so, she probably could have used this years ago. But check out some other guitars. Check out some stuff that's in the $400 to $800 range. Again, not like the cheapest guitar you can get in that range. There's cheaper things. But get something quality and then beat it up and make it your own, because that's the true spirit of rock and roll and punk. Make it your own, beat it up, make cool songs with it. And if this is the one for you, it's going to do the job. It's a very well-made guitar. Pickups sound right to me, and it just feels cool. Road-worn neck, that's one of the best things about Road-worn, is that it's not beat up, but it feels really good. It feels very comfortable. So I hope you like the sound. You can find the link in the description below straight to this guitar on our website where you can read all the specs. Go read some history about Joe Strummer. If you're not a Clash fan, you probably didn't make it to this point in the video. But check out the song Clamp Down. That's one of the best, all right? London Calling, you got Rudy Can't Fail on there. My mom is a massive Clash fan. She gave me all those records. It was very important info for me when I was getting into guitar. And so if you haven't dove into the Clash, dive in. It's about time. And then beat up some guitars, get angry, and if you're not that angry but you like the guitar, you can get on our website. Let us know if you got any questions. Put stuff in the comments below. Let us know what you think. Do you think this is overpriced? Do you think it's cool? Do you want to see other signature models? We want to know all that stuff. Reach out, come by the store and play it. Send us an email. Anything you want. We're here for you guys. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.